little over 5 years ago, I didn't want to live anymore. It felt like every day was just repeating itself over and over. And if I had to explain how I was feeling during that time of depression to me, I had no emotion towards anything or anyone. I didn't care what people thought of me. I didn't care about what people said about me. I didn't care about my own thoughts. I didn't have any hate, love, or feelings, just any feelings towards anyone. I just didn't care about anything. That's how I would explain my depression towards someone else who hasn't gone through it. Hasn't gone through it. That's how I felt during the time when I was depressed. And the average day during COVID, which was 5 years ago, was so bad. I would wake up late. It would be like probably 2 p.m. That summer of COVID. I would wake up at like 2 p.m., go on my phone instantly, scroll for like 30 minutes, maybe even masturbate. By the way, I was like 13. And then I would go on my video game, play for X amount of hours, and then I'll go downstairs, eat, come back upstairs, play more video games. I would eat, play more video games, and then when it was bedtime, I would either masturbate again or scroll on TikTok. That was the average day 5 years ago for me. It sucked. I felt like I was in a deep hole of just despair, if I had to explain it. I don't know. It was a weird time in my life, and at that time, my view on God and just religion in a whole, I just thought it was like kind of stupid, but at the same time, I was optimistic. I was optimistic about there being a God, simulation. Not really though. I kind of figured like the Big Bang Theory didn't make sense to me. Like, how is everything just here? What's the point of us being here? I remember scrolling on TikTok, and I don't remember the exact moment it happened, but I do remember the person who introduced me to it was on TikTok. It was a guy named Cliff. You can go look him up. He does a lot of speaking in front of college students and stuff about the Bible and Christianity in a whole. I really like him, especially because he got me into Christianity. And yeah, I just kept seeing his TikToks, and I don't remember the exact video or the exact date that I did it, but for some reason I prayed one night, and that was single-handedly the best decision I made my whole life. That one time deciding to pray that one night was the best decision I made ever for my short life. And like I said, I wish I could remember the exact thing or time or event that happened that made me click in my mind that Jesus is the way, because I see other people who have it and it's like a cool short story to tell. Like, I wish I had that type of cool story to show people and tell people, but I just don't remember it. I really don't remember it, but I do know it was over a course of time. I kept being shown it, and then I just did it. I just prayed one time, and I've been at my happiest ever since. It sucks to say that when I was that young, I was my saddest. It really does suck to say. When I was becoming a teenager, that was when I was the most sad. It really does. But I am so happy I prayed. I'm so happy I took it serious, and I kept doing it. Since then, I've prayed almost every night since then. I will say, like, during a vacation, I wouldn't pray. Not anymore. Like, now I do. Like, I can't remember the last time I haven't prayed, but during like a vacation back then, I wouldn't pray. But it's a great feeling when I pray to know that it's like a form of therapy in a way. I get to talk. I don't do like the typical prayers either, like that some people do. I don't even know if you would. I don't know if real Christians would classify my prayer as a real prayer, in like the Christian way or whatever. But I would basically, say thanks, say my grace, say my thanks to God for everything that happened that day. Talk about it a little bit. Sometimes prayer would be a long time. Like, I'm probably like the longest, maybe 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Just, I guess, praying or having a conversation with God is how I would put it. And it was like a form of therapy, like I said. It felt really good. It still feels good to just vent and it's like the weird feeling. It's like a weird feeling of enlightenment. I guess I would put it. I wish people would know the feeling that I'm talking about. It's a weird feeling. I just don't know how to explain it really. But yeah, now I read the Bible every day. The last a month and a half, I've been reading the Bible every day, trying to just get more information because I haven't read the Bible front to back yet, and I really want to have that under my belt. But yeah, I've been reading it every day. I just finished Job. If anyone knows what that is. And yeah, my relationship with God has been a journey for sure. I'd say the three biggest things that I've learned so far throughout my journey would be loving everyone. That's a huge one. Trying to love everyone for their flaws, and that includes like not judging, loving everyone fully, even if they have a different view on the world than me, even people that hate me, etc. Just trying to love everyone equally is something I've been working on, and I can easily tell the difference between when I was back then to now. I used to, talk crap about everyone in my head. I didn't really say it out loud, but now I find myself catching onto it right away and just shutting it down immediately. And it makes me happy realizing that I've turned into that person that doesn't do it anymore. It makes me happy. Um, and the next one would be staying disciplined. Discipline. I'll just say discipline. Specifically away from sin, but discipline. Praying every night for 5 years, in my opinion, is pretty disciplined. I've been reading the Bible. I've been like forcing myself to read the Bible because sometimes I would forget about it, and then I would read it like right before I go to bed when I just don't feel like it. I've been making that commitment to God that I'm going to read the Bible every day, even if it's just a little bit. I'm going to read it every day. So even before bed, staying disciplined and making sure I read the Bible. And other areas in my life, staying away from sin is a big one with staying disciplined. At least in God's way. I mean, staying away from sin, like masturbation, that's been a huge struggle. But I've definitely recently noticed a lot of improvement on that. The gym, which I'll talk about in a second. I have a little something to share about that, but and then discipline. Like you could say discipline for everything, really. Discipline with literally everything you can think of. Just staying disciplined. It's been one of the biggest things I've learned so far. And then my last one is focusing on God. This one's probably the most important, and it's like realizing that His plan is better than mine. Like I would pursue something and I would pray about it, and God would show me that very week that it's either a priority or it's just a distraction. He'll show me that week if I pray about something. It's crazy how like what's that word? What is that word? Coincidental. When I pray about things, it's so coincidental. The timing of it, like I smile every time I realize that's something that literally has no chance of happening if God wasn't real. Like I could just tell. I just know. Like there's just no way that would have happened if I didn't say it that night and prayed to God about it. And just realizing His plan is better than mine. I feel like that kind of went a different way. I wanted to say that His plan is better than mine, meaning I have goals in my life, whatever. I pray about them, and then God will shut them down, or He won't encourage it, based on what plans He has for me in my life. And then knowing that He is in control and keeping keeping a calm mind. I think I made a video on this actually. Get rid of your anxiety and overthinking, and give it to God, basically. So if that is through prayer or whatever, if you're overthinking something, realize that God is in control. It's not worth overthinking, because in the end, God is in control. Time will inevitably rid of it if it's something that's bad. Time is like an ultimate healer. I'm kind of blanking here. I'm sorry. I'm trying to do this in one take, because I'm trying to become a better speaker. So sorry about that. I have some notes on my left and I'm just trying to flow off of. Sorry. Okay, and then the thing I was talking about with my weight, which I said I'll talk about later. So one of the trials that I had so far in these like 5 years of encountering God, the biggest trial I've had was when I found out about God. I also went down like the self-help rabbit hole, which is good. It's good to be on self-help. So I found the gym. I found, making money online. I found, it's how I find content. That's how I'm doing that right now. That was a while ago though, but I'm glad I'm doing it now. I finally put enough discipline in to lose weight. I was really heavy at the time. I lost about 60 pounds in like a year and a half, and I felt really good. And then I got complacent. I don't know how it happened, to be honest. Like I've been going to the gym for 4 years now, and if you look at me in the camera, like I guess you can't. No, you can kind of tell. I'm fat. So what happened, Nate? How did you lose 60 pounds and end up 80 pounds higher than you were when you lost after you lost it? Well, I got complacent. And one of the things I did when it happens, well, not when it happens, but after like a while, earlier this year probably, was blame God. I blamed God for my shortcomings. Why would you allow this, God? Why did this happen to me? Basically, yeah, just like I said, blaming everything on God. And of course I regret it, and I've changed my perspective on it now. But it was one of the biggest struggles I've had so far with my relationship with God, because it sucks to work your ass off for 4 years and basically, as of right now, have almost no results. I could definitely say I look better than I did back then, and I'm way stronger than I did back then, but I'm even heavier than I was back then. So it was one of the things that I wrestled with my mind constantly, and that's where the anxiety and overthinking thing came from. That's where blaming God came from. And recently, I've changed my mindset to being grateful for what I have, because I realized that, yeah, I fell off, basically. Yeah, I fell off. But I managed to change my mindset of blaming God and blaming my surroundings to being grateful for what I have. Especially online, you see a lot of people who have way more shortcomings than you do. Not even seeing people, you just know that there's people out there who have it way harder than you, and if they had the opportunity, they would switch their life with yours in an instant if they knew your problems compared to theirs. Like someone in Africa, or someone in the Middle East, or someone in China, if they had the opportunity to switch places with me after hearing my problems compared to theirs, do it in seconds. They would do it instantly. And that's one of the things that helped me realize how grateful I should be and how grateful I am now to have a body that's able to move, to have at least some sort of discipline to keep going to the gym, even though I gained that much weight so fast. And no, I was not on bulk purposely. Anyway, I have a quick Bible verse I want to share. I have it written down. 2 Corinthians 12:9. But he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. What this means to me is, even in your tough times, and even in your hard times, tough times, hard times, same thing. But in those times, it's when God comes out and shines the most, because he takes your weaknesses, he gives you trials, you build on the weaknesses, and they become your power. They become, instead of your weakness, they become your power. I don't know how else to say it. Power. What is another word for power? I don't know. Why? Sorry. And one of the things I've developed since back then was a lot of patience. I've built a lot of patience with God in my life, because I know things are going to take time, and I understand that now, and I'm glad I do, because I didn't back then. I really wanted everything now, right away, back then. And patience, I'm so glad I've been able to build a good amount of patience. And yeah, for the last thing I have written on my notes, I encourage you to pray if you haven't, because, like I said, from doing so, I'm still alive. Like I said, I was depressed back then, and I don't know if I would be living right now if I didn't find God. And I like it makes me laugh and smile because I'm so thankful for everything that's happened to me. Even though I've went through some tough stuff, I'm so glad I'm still here. I'm so glad I'm still here because God made me realize that I have the ability to do something. The last thing I ever in, I went from no emotion in life to loving everyone, including myself, and that's powerful to me because I didn't even love myself back then, and now I do. Even though I'm at my heaviest, I still love myself even more than I did back then. Can't believe I just talked that long. I did try to do it in one take, but there were some parts I have to cut out. Thank y'all for watching. I'll see you tomorrow.